Yeah, please.
So we were just saying the first shloka, tapaswadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidamvaram naradam paripapracha valmikir munipungavam. So I was saying Rama in Balakanda itself and Ramayana in general, tapas is given great importance. It starts with tapas, and there are stories of Vishwamitra's tapas and Bhagiratha's tapas and things like that. And Rama also keeps telling that he's a tapasvi. In Aranyakanda, this keeps and other places of Ramayana also it keeps coming. He says I'm tapasvi. He describes himself also as a rishi and things like that. And as you can see, you must be knowing that Ramayana. So every 1,000 verses, the first letter starts with Gayatri's letters. So it starts with Ta. If you can see, so from Tatsaviturvarenyam, that Ta. This
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
And see the last shloka of this sarga itself. The first sarga of Valmiki Ramayana is called Bala Ramayanam. So it consists of 100 shlokas or something. So it is a good text in itself. It covers the entire Ramayana story and it ends with Yat, like Prachodayat. Gayatri Mantra also ends with Yat and this sarga also ends with Yat. So they say
Mhm.
this is Valmiki's style of indicating that Ramayana is what should I say, an interpretation of Gayatri Mantra, if you like. And they say there's a famous shloka, Veda Vedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Prachetasa Dasit Sakshad Ramayanatmani. So Ramayanatmana. So because the Parabrahman which is established by all Vedas has taken form as Rama. So to describe that Parabrahman, so that Vedas also have to come now. So they have come through Valmiki. Prachetasa is Valmiki, so it has come through him. So I was saying, what is it that we should expect from Ramayana itself? So the subject matter of Ramayana is dharma. So you can keep seeing that Ramo Vigrahavam Dharma keeps coming a lot. So dharma is given great importance and dharma is being discussed at many places. So many people will be quoting dharma. Rama will be quoting dharma anyway. And in Ayodhya Kanda, you'll keep getting a lot of people quoting dharma always. And then even Shurpanakha will quote dharma. So when she will go and speak to Ravana, she will quote dharma, what a king should do and things like that. So this dharma keeps coming frequently in Ramayana. That is the essence of Ramayana, if you like. And how is this presented in Ramayana? So it's presented as a kavya. So Valmiki's Ramayana is a beautiful kavya. You will discover as we proceed. And then he's a very skillful storyteller, Valmiki. So he knows when to end a chapter. He generates suspense in us. So he knows how to deal with it, and we would as we would proceed, we will see. Let's not guess what Valmiki will say further, and we should also be with an open mind when you're reading Valmiki Ramayana, because many stories that are attributed to Ramayana, you will see that they are not actually there in Ramayana
Mhm.
itself. So it might be a discovery for us. So what I would be doing as we go ahead is I am consulting. So because you asked me that we should study the text from the beginning, so I thought this is an opportunity for me to study a Tika on Valmiki. There are three famous Tikas, so Tilaka, Shiromani, and Bhushana. So of which it appears to me, I don't know, I have to ask Mahatmas and verify that Tilaka Tikakara appears to be an Advaitin, and the other two appear to be the Govindaraja. I know that he's a Vishishtadvaitin anyway, so I don't know about Shiromani Kara. Maybe I should check that also. So that is the thing. So I thought I will read Tilaka Tika for myself. And Valmiki throws in a lot of adjectives at many places. So as you see, even in the first few shlokas of the Balakanda itself, of the first sarga itself, many adjectives are thrown. Thrown, I mean, quote unquote, are given to Rama. So sometimes these adjectives are very nicely described in the Tika. So at that time, I will describe that from the Tika. But otherwise, obviously, we are not reading the Tika line by line. We will just read the shloka line by line. So, and then you should also be a little patient in the beginning, because any Shastra or any text in the beginning is always challenging. So in the beginning, once you fall in the groove and we start enjoying the taking the rasa of it, so it falls in place. Um, yeah, so that said, and one more thing, the Vishishtadvaitins look upon Ramayana with a nice vision. It's a nice vision that we can also employ. So they say that Rama, of course, is an avatar of Vishnu, but Rama is teaching us what a person should, so he's teaching us dharma. So what a person should do in his day-to-day life is what Rama is teaching us, and it's very true that once you are habituated to Ramayana, you can always get back to what Rama would do in this particular instance and live like that. So it's always possible. And then there are Bharata, Lakshmana, and Bharata. They are teaching us how Mahatmas approach Rama. So they are saints. So they are approaching Rama as Ishvara. So how to approach Ishvara is what Bharata and Shatrughna are teaching you. Lakshmana and Bharata are teaching you. Lakshmana is teaching you how you can be with Ishvara always and still connect with him, and Bharata is teaching you how you can be physically away from Ishvara and still be able to connect with him always. And what is Shatrughna teaching you? Shatrughna is supposed to be, so in their literature, so they look upon Shatrughna as a very great character. He's a great character, but they have a very special place. Shatrughna is one who's serving bhaktas of Bhagavan. So while Lakshmana and Bharata are directly bhaktas of Bhagavan, so Shatrughna is bhakta of bhakta. So they have this idea of dasa dasa and things like that. So a bhakta of bhakta is supposedly even greater than the bhakta itself. So things like that. So that is also a nice idea. So whenever you are seeing these characters speak, how they are behaving, you can always have this framework in the back of your mind that whenever Lakshmana or Bharata are speaking, they are speaking as bhaktas, and when Shatrughna is speaking, Shatrughna's uh, primary role in Valmiki Ramayana is only very subtly now and then it comes. So though he has an important place whenever he comes, but it's not so much, what should I say, not so much elaborated. And when Rama is speaking, you should always know that he is teaching how a human should be. So things like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So there are some shlokas that are sung in praise of Valmiki and Hanuman. You must be knowing these shlokas. So Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Mande Valmiki Kokilam. Valmiki is supposed to be a cuckoo bird, a kokila, supposed to singing. So Aruhya Kavita Shakham. So he's standing on a branch of Kavita, on a tree of Kavita, and then he's singing Rama Rama and things like that. And then there are beautiful shlokas. I thought I should tell them in the between, but they are not on my memory right now. So Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shrinvan Ramakathanadam Konayati Parangatim. This is also a beautiful shloka. So when a simha roars in the forest, all animals they get so afraid that they go and hide in their home. Okay, so like that when Valmiki the Munisimha is roaring in the forest in the Kavita Vana, so and what is the roaring that he's making? He's making the roaring called Rama. Rama Nama, he's roaring, and hearing that, who doesn't enter Paramgatim? So the Paragati is, let's say, Moksha. So by just listening to that Rama which Valmiki is roaring, the lion called Valmiki is roaring, everybody attains Moksha. Konayati Paramgatim. So it's a question, rhetorical question. Who doesn't attain Moksha? It means everybody attains Moksha just by listening to that. Anjananandanam Veeram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapisham Akshahantaram Mande Lanka Bhayankaram. So it's good to remember Hanumanji also at this in this context. So we will end all our classes with or all our sessions with Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtana. Okay, if I forget in the last, please remind me. So let's get into the text proper. Tapaswadhyaya Nidatam Tapasvi Vagvidambaram Naradam Paripaprachha Valmikir Munipungavam. So usually the way shlokas are understood when you study any shloka is first to hold on to the kriya, so the verb. So the verb here is Paripapracha, means he asked. So very respectfully he asked. Who asked? Valmiki asked. Whom did he ask? He asked Narada. So Valmiki asked Narada. This is the essence of the shloka. And there are some adjectives that are given to Valmiki. There are one adjective given to Valmiki and some adjectives given to Narada here. So like I already said, it starts with tapaha. Tapaha is given the prime place in tapas is given the prime place in Balakanda in Ramayana itself. And it starts with it's supposed to be auspicious, good starting, and Ramayana ends with also balam Vishnu pravarthatam, things like that. So the Tikakara has some nice points to make here on this shloka. Let me find them. Yeah. So here first of all, Tapasvi Valmiki, Tapaswadhyaya Niratam is an adjective to Narada. So Tapaswadhyaya Niratam Naradam. Vagvidam Varam Naradam. So Vagvidam Varam is also to Narada. Tapasvi is an adjective to Valmiki. So Tapasvi Valmiki Vagvidam Varam Munipungavam Tapaswadhyaya Niratam Naradam Paripapracha. This is the idea. So though all shlokas we may not be doing like this, but this is a beautiful first shloka. So I'm bringing out some points here. So these are all from Tilaka Vyakya, whatever I'm saying now. So tapaha in tapaswadhyaya niratam, tapaha means jnanam. So there is Mundakopanishad mantra also, yasya jnanamayam tapaha. So tapas means jnanam there. So it's describing Brahma's Hiranyagarbha's tapas. So his tapas is of the form of jnana. So tapas also is born from the root tapa alochane. So in that sense, and then this you can see in Ramayana you can always connect to some people who know the Vedas can connect many incidents to the Vedas. The same thing is with Mahabharata. Many incidents you can connect with things that are mentioned in the Vedas itself. So for some things for students of Upanishads like us who have studied some Upanishad, that also you will see some dhvani of Upanishads in Ramayana. For example, in this shloka you can see in Taittiriya Upanishad in Bhruguvalli. So Bhrugurvai Varunihi Varunam Pitaram Upasasara Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. So it goes like a tapasa brahma vijignyasasva. So Bhrugu goes to his father and asks him to teach him Brahma. So teach him about Brahma. So then his father tells him, so tapasa Brahma vijignyasasva. By tapas you know Brahman. So those, that is what is trying to. So as a result of Valmiki's tapas so far, he is getting to know about Rama. That is the idea. So yasya jnanamayam tapaha, in Narada's case in tapaswadhyaya niratam, there tapas means jnanam. So yasya jnanamayam tapaha iti shrutehe tapashabdena brahma vishaya jnanam uchyate. So brahma jnanam is what is being said here. So tapascha swadhyayascha tapaswadhyayo tayoho nirataha naradaha. So Narada is one who is engaged in tapas and swadhyaya. So swadhyaya is, you can take it as Shravanam. So my idea is, now I'm going to present, now means that Vyakyakara is presenting Narada as a person who did Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So that's where he's going to end up with. So Swadhyaya Nirataha is he has done Shravana, and Tapo Nirataha tapashabdena nididhyasana janya paripakavad brahmajnana muchyate. So by tapas word here, what the poet is trying to say is Narada. So tapa alochane, from there you can draw nididhyasana. So he's not only somebody who did Shravanam, he's done nididhyasanam also, but in between there is mananam also. So muni pungava shabdena mananajanya paripakavatvam uchyate. By muni mananan munihi. So manana, one who does manana is muni. So he has done mananam also. That means he's a brahmanishta. That's the idea. Narada is the perfect person to speak about Rama being Parabrahma. And how does he know? Because he himself has done Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and he has understood Rama as Parabrahman. Rama is the Pratipadya, Dharma is the Pratipadya of this text, and Ramo Vigrahan Dharma. Rama and Dharma are not two separate things. So Rama is also the Pratipadya. Rama as Dharma is the Pratipadya of this text anyway. So now this Narada is not just a Brahmagyani himself, and he is also a teacher, in the sense that, what does Narada word mean? So Naranam idam naram ajnanam. So naram means ajnanam. Naranam idam, that which all human beings have. So what all human beings have is ajnanam. So Naranam idam naram ajnanam tadyati khandayati iti Naradaha. One who breaks or whatever cuts away that ajnanam is called Narada. So he quotes from Narada Purana. So Gayan Narayana Katham Sada Papa Bhayapaham Narado Nashayanneti Rinam Ajnanajam Tamaha. So by singing Narayana Katha, Narada is going around the world destroying the ignorance of people. So Tapas Swadhyaya Niratam means one who is engaged in tapas and swadhyaya. So by tapas and swadhyaya we meant that he is one who's done Shravana and Nididhyasana. So Muni Pungavam means greatest of munis. So Pungava actually means a bull, but then the idea is in Shresthartha it is used. So Muni Pungavam means Shrestha, Muni Shrestha. So Vagvidam Varam, he's also an expert he's expert amongst people who know how to speak. So the Tikakara gives example of Patanjali, Panini, and these people are They are he's greatest of all those people. So he goes into Shabda Brahma and things like that. They know Shabda Brahma, they know Artha also of words and things like that. And the idea is Narada knows how to communicate well. And then Naradam Paripapracha Valmikihi Munipu. Valmiki means one who's born out of ant hill. Valmika Janma Munihi. So Valmiki. So and then here Tapasvi for Valmiki, here for Valmiki Tapasvi means so Samyak Samanaska Indriyanam Aikagre Rupam Cha Tapaha. So he is one who has brought his mind under control. That kind of tapas he has done. That means he has sadhana chatushtaya. So now he is going to know about Brahman in the form of Rama. So Tadvan Valmiki. So the idea, the meaning of this shloka is Tapasvadhyaya Niratam Vagvidam Varam Munipungavam Naradam Tapasvi Valmiki Paripapracha. Valmiki Tapasvi has asked the following. The following is not there, but you have to bring that in. The following question he has asked Narada, who is Tapasvadhyaya Nirata, who is Munipungava, who is Vagvidam Varam, Vagvidam Varaha. So that is the first shloka. Now let's go to. So he gives 16. He puts 16 qualities. He asks one who has who. So the idea is Valmiki is going to ask Narada, is there anybody who has these qualities? So he wants all these qualities in one person, and he wants that person to be currently alive. He should be around. So that's the idea. So konvasmin sampratan loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmagnyascha kritagnyascha satyavakyo drudhavratah चारित्रेण च को युक्तः सर्वभूतेषु को हितः विद्वान् कः कः समर्थश्च कश्चैक प्रियदर्शनः आत्मवान् को जितक्रोधो द्युतिमान् को न सूयकः कस्य बिभ्यति देवाश्च जातरोषस्य संयुगे एतदिच्छाम्यहं श्रोतुं परं कौतूहलं हि मे महर्षे त्वं समर्थोऽसि ज्ञातुमेवं विधं नरम्. So he is asking 16 qualities. So about person who has these qualities, and he ends up asking 16 qualities. So they say Shodasha Kalavan Purushaha. So Parabrahman is supposed to have 16 kalas. So it's supposed to make one full. You know, in the olden currency system, so 16 annas make 1 rupee. So that's the idea. So 16 things. So what is he asking in the beginning? Ko no kahano asmin sampratan loke. So asmin loke sampratan loke. So in this world at this moment, who has these qualities? That is what Valmiki is trying to ask. Gunavan Kashcha Viryavan, who is one who has guna. So guna is Prashasta Bahugunavan ityartha, one who has many good qualities. So that's the idea, Gunavan. And Viryavan
means at present, is it?
Sorry? Sampratam means present. Sampratam means present. Asmin means here in this world. Sampratam at this moment. So Akashavani Sanskrit news used to start like that. Yam Akashavani Samprati Varta Shruyantam Baladevananda Sagara. He used to be the speaker, Baladevananda Sagara. So Prashasta Bahugunavan ityartha for Gunavan. So what does Gunavan mean? One who has Prashasta Bahugunavan. So many gunas are there, many good gunas are there. Okay, so Viryavan. So what is Viryavan? Divyastra Baladija Shakti Visheshana Parabhibhava Samarthyam Viryam. So one who has the capability to what should I say, to defeat an enemy by the power of various astras that he has. So that is Viryavan. Dharmagnyascha. Dharmagnya means one who knows dharma. So that Tikakara is saying Shrauta Smarta Sakala Dharma Rahasyajnaha. So he knows Shrauta Dharmas, Shruti Pratipadya and Smriti Pratipadya Dharmas. Then Kritagnyascha. So Kritagnaha means one who knows. Krita is something that is done to him. Some good that is done to him, he knows. That's the Kritagnaha actually means generally, in a general sense, one who knows everything that is done to him. So he knows the good also and bad also. But as a guna, Kritagnaha means that one who knows the good that is done to him. It's a very beautiful quality that Rama is supposed to have. It comes again in Ayodhya Kanda and elsewhere. So Bahvim api apakritim upekshya ekamapi upakritim bahvim manyata iti Kritagnaha. So even if many bad things are done to him, he doesn't remember that. But even if one small good favor is done to him, he remembers that as a very big thing. So this comes, so all these things that we are mentioning here, so Gunavan, Viryavan, Dharmagnaha, all these come in the story itself. You can observe how Rama is Gunavan, how Rama is Viryavan, how Rama is Dharmagnaha, and all that. So next is Kritagna Satyavakya. Satyavakya is Satyavakya Sarvavasthaswapi Yathashruta Drishta Tattvartha Vakta. So at all times he only says what he has directly seen and what he has directly heard. So he doesn't, add things and say like that. Dridhavrataha. Dridhavrataha is a nice adjective. So Dridhavrataha means one, despite, suppose you have taken up some resolve, despite how many challenges you get to that resolve, you will not give up the resolve. So you have taken some vrata, and that vrata is dridha. So whatever challenges come to your resolve, you will not give it up. So how is he defining dridha vrata? Dridha vrataha apadyapi dharmaya pratigrihita vrata visheshasya tyagarahitaha. So he has taken a vrata. What has he taken it for? He has taken the vrata for dharma. So dharmaya parigrihita vrata vishesha. So he has taken a resolve for dharma, and that resolve he never gives up, even if he has great challenges, even if he faces great challenges. So charitrena cha ko yuktaha. Charitra is good conduct. He has good conduct. Sadacharena yuktaha. Charitrena cha ko yuktaha. Sarvabhuteshu kohitaha. Now sarvabhuteshu kohitaha means, so once you read the obvious meaning of the word is one who's engaged in the welfare of everybody. So everybody means one who has done good to him, one who has not done good to him also. So here Tilakakara says, but on the other hand, here Tilakakara says, Sarva Bhuteshu, Sarva Pranishu Madhye, Kaha Puman Hitaha, Ahikamushmika Hitavaho Ashatrubhyaha. So he says, only to Ashatrus, he gives whatever is good to them, even in this world and in the world hereafter. That is what Tilakakara says, and he explicitly says next, Yattu Sarva Pranishu Saparadhishwapi Hitakarana Shila iti vyachakshate tattu hitayoge chaturthyapatte ayuktam. So he goes into a technical discussion of grammar, I suppose, and then he says to say that even somebody who does aparadha to him, he does good. So to say that it is grammatically wrong, I think he's saying grammatically wrong. But this is the line that other Tikakaras have taken. In fact, he's verbatim quoting from Ramayana Shiromani, and then he's from Shiromani Vyakya, and he's telling that it seems to me, and I asked Tattvavidananda ji also, he says that meaning is good. The meaning that even to people who does aparadha to him, he still does good. So I don't know how long we can proceed. We can stop at 8:45 maybe, or whatever is convenient to you.
Yeah,
So
8:45 will be good.
yeah. So this Sarvabhuteshu Kohitaha is an idea, is a quality that only Bhagavan can have. So even if somebody is doing bad to him, quote unquote bad, in for Bhagavan's terms there is no bad to him or good to him, but what is seemingly done as bad to him, even to them he is giving in return only what is good to them. So this is how bhakti, the bhaktas bring in the idea of Bhagavan. So even if Bhagavan is engaging in a war with somebody, so even if he's slaying somebody, it is for their good. That's what they say. So his adharma has become so strong that the best alternative, the best option to give him is to end his upadhi. That's the idea. And then if Bhagavan kills somebody, then he gets, so even to approach Bhagavan with Shatru Bhava is supposedly good. So he only blesses you in back. Whatever emotion you have, he reciprocates back in this way. I wanted to say something in this context, I just forgot. Anyway, Sarva Bhuteshu Kohitaha. Yeah, so in life sometimes it happens that you see that you are being very good, and then many bad things are happening to you, and then you ask, why is God punishing me? And then you see other people, in your terms, in your view, other people are engaged in many bad acts, and then but still they are doing good. How is that tolerable, and things like that. So somebody asked me this question, one of our neighbors asked. So I told them, see, if Bhagavan is just letting a bad person enjoy things more and more and more, see, these are how can we judge somebody as good or bad? But if you are thinking like that, what you should think instead. If somebody is just enjoying happiness despite all the bad karmas that they are doing, is it a blessing to them that Bhagavan is giving, or is it an indirect curse, in the sense that, so if Bhagavan is not yet giving the phalam of your karma, that means you are up for a big trouble in the future. And if you see that Bhagavan is troubling you, quote unquote troubling you, by giving such a bad situation in life, he's only blessing you because, Ayya, for this karma, please enjoy your bad result now itself. Let it not pile up. Anyway, so Sarvabhuteshu Kohitaha is a quality that Bhagavan can have, only Bhagavan can have perhaps. And Vyakhyacaras go to the extent of saying that all the qualities that they are mentioning, are being mentioned here, are only possible in Bhagavan. Even one of these qualities is possible only in Bhagavan. And when Valmiki is asking for somebody who has all the 16 qualities, it should be in one person, all these 16 qualities. So just to finish that shloka, Vidwan kaha kasamarthascha kashchaika priyadarshanaha. So Vidwan is Vidwan Atmanatma Sakala Padartha Tatvajnaha. So Vidwan is one who knows Atma and Anatma differently. So Atmanatma Viveka he has. Samarthascha. Samartha is Laukika Vyavahare Prajaranjanadau Chaturyam Samarthyam Tadvan. So Laukika Vyavahare is in day-to-day activities and in making people happy. So that itself is a great art which Rama has. He's Samartha of that. I would like to add to this Samartha. I means, I don't know if the other Vyakhyacaras are mentioning it, but maybe they are. I don't know. But it strikes me now that Samartha we can take that Rama is being chosen. These are the subtle hints that Valmiki uses. So he doesn't say Valmiki, doesn't say Rama is Vishnu, but he says Rama is Samartha. Samartha means what? So Hanuman has a shloka in Sundarakanda. He's telling Ravana that Rama is Samartha. So Sarvan Lokan Susamhritya. There is a shloka like that. So Rama is Samartha. He says that word Samartha there. Rama is capable of destroying all these worlds in a jiffy and then again recreating them. These are the exact words that Hanuman uses. So that Samartha we can bring in here. So Janmadhyasya Yataha, that kind of Samarthatvam we can also bring in here. So Vidwan Kaha Kasamarthascha Kashchaika Priyadarshanaha. So Kashchaika Priyadarshanaha, the Tikakara says, Kamadhika Saundaryavattvena Nitya Sukharupattvena cha Ekapriyam Kevala Dukha Sambhinna Priyatva Darshanam Yasya Saha. So his is Kashchaika Eka Priyadarshana. Kaha means who? Eka Priyadarshanaha means he is the only, what should I say, nice one to look at. So that's the literal meaning. What it actually means, the Tikakara says, is, so he is very beautiful and only he is beautiful. So he's the only one that is worth seeing by us. And he says a nice, he uses an adjective there, Dukha Sambhinna Priyatva Darshanam. So the Priyatvam in the beauty, the enjoyment of beauty of Rama is something that is not mixed with Dukkha. So it's not alloyed by sorrow. Such kind of happiness you get on looking at Rama. So this Dukkha Sambhinna is a Mimamsaka word actually. So Yanna Dukkhena Sambhinnam, they define Swarga like that. Nachat Grastam Anantaram Abhilashopanithancha Tatpadam Swapadaspadam. There is a shloka like that. I might be wrong, but more or less this is the shloka. So that Sukha, so this is Kumarila Bhatta's Vartika. So that Sukha which is not alloyed by Dukkha at the time of enjoying it, and it doesn't bring it's not alloyed by sorrow at the time of enjoyment and doesn't bring sorrow after it is enjoyed. So now it is all right, but afterwards what happens? It's not like that. And Abhilashopanitam, it gives me what I want. So that Sukha is Swarga. So Kumarila Bhatta is also defining Swarga like that. This comes up in Taittiriya Bhasham of Shankara. So Kashtaika Priyadarshanaha is that, and the Tikakara quotes some other previous Tikakaras in his Tika sometimes. He quotes a previous Tikakara which has a nice meaning. So Kashchaika Priyadarshanaha is Eko Advitiyaha Sachaso Priyadarshanaschetyatthaha. So he is Eka, Eka means one alone. So Ekameva Advitiyam. So Eka means he is Advitiya and he is Priya also. So this is typically the idea of Atman. So you must be knowing Yajnavalkya. We will stop with this shloka. So Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvada. So Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. So that's what he's trying to say. So Eka Priyadarshanaha is so that Atma is what he's trying to say ultimately. So you might get the spirit, or you might have got the spirit already. Just Priyadarshanaha is he's the one who's ultimately loved. And what is that we ultimately love, all of us? It is the one self that we are. So one conscious self that we are is what we all ultimately love, and that is how Valmiki is also he is looking for such a thing. So how is he able to look for these things? Because his mind is now paripakva by all the tapas that he does. He has already done. Um, yeah, so we will stop at this point. I just wanted to tell a small thing about the timing of Valmiki's. Maybe I will tell it at a service some other day. Just remind me, when did Valmiki write? I mean, at what point did Valmiki write Ramayana in Rama's? I mean, you must be knowing already. The Valmiki wrote Ramayana when Rama has already. I mean, he has finished all his vanavasa and is already ruling the country. So that is when, or rather, ruling the world, and that's when he writes. He writes Ramayana. I should have told that in the beginning, but I will come to it. I have a point to make in that. I will come to it. So we will stop from here. Stop at here. We ended at a nice point, which is at Atma. So yeah. So yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam tatra tatra krita mastakanjalim bashpavari paripurna lochanam marutim namata rakshasantakam om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम तत्सत् श्रीरामार्पणमस्तु।